Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about the case of Alex Ray Scott, somebody who is found guilty of two different murders, both of them incredibly brutal, one involving a decapitation. No, I'm not kidding about this, but the reason we're talking about this is not because this person wasn't convicted, not because this person didn't get an appropriate sentence in terms of time, but we're talking about it because this person transitioned to a female and is now going to be held in a female prison. Yeah, that's right. Two-time murderer and apparently also a molester ends up going to a female prison because how dare we deny this person their identity, this person who is notable because they denied two people their right to life in brutal and savage fashion. But before we get into this, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
Now look, before I get into the nitty-gritty details of this particular case, I'm gonna give a caveat for the dumb idiots out there because I tweeted about this case, and some people decided to respond by making the claim that I'm talking about all the transes, all the transgenders, and just using this as an excuse to attack all the transes and transgenders. But the fact of the matter is, the people that I'm attacking are those in New York government that think it's a good idea to house this individual who only began transitioning after being arrested for these murders in a female prison, that moved this person to a female jail, despite the fact that this person is a brutal murderer. And I don't care how they identify afterwards. The fact of the matter is, this guy with the energy of a man, 6 foot tall, 190 pounds, hacked up two people, killed two people, disposed of the body. I remember when the FBI was going over the Oklahoma case, and they actually, as a part of the plea deal, had to drag this person around in order to find the pieces so that the family could have something to bury.
In a plea agreement, Scott admitted to beating Robin Sculptable with a hammer until he was dead. Scott also admitted to dismembering Sculptable's body. In a plea deal, he agreed to help law enforcement with the search of Sculptable's remains.
And that doesn't even speak to what this person did to the New York victim who was killed in the Upper East Side apartment where that man resided. So yeah, my point of this video is we should not be catering to and using tax dollars to support this person's transition. In fact, we should probably have pushed for the death penalty in the state of Oklahoma because this is a brutal killer, and for all we know, there are additional murders that we have yet to discover. Okay? We all understand that? Get it? Got it? Good.
Guilty to the Class A felony of murder in the second degree under the first count of this indictment, and 2 counts of criminal possession of stolen property, Class E felonies. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody forced you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
Have you had enough time to go over this disposition with your lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Has anyone promised you anything other than my promise to you that I will go along with the people's recommendation and sentence you to an indeterminate sentence on the murder in the second degree to 22 years to the rest of your life, and on the 2 Class E felonies 1 to 3. Those sentences to run concurrently for a total of 22 to life. Do you understand that that's what the promise is?
Yes.
This is Alex Ray Scott's guilty plea in New York City court, and I just want to point out that the sentence for this particular crime, which involves, of course, dismembering a corpse, which, by the way, is not bail eligible in the state of New York.
Dismembering a corpse and hiding a corpse after dismembering it. Not bail eligible. Not a serious crime. I'm not even kidding, guys.
Anna, I just said it's not bail eligible. I don't need you to interrupt me each and every time I decide that I'm going to go over a story and reference some of the things that you happen to have said. But in this particular case, Scott received 22 years to life for this murder, which was a brutal murder, and also could have been compounded with the additional felonies because there was also a robbery post this murder. And we're going to go to a New York Post article to talk about the details of the case, but fair warning, this person is a savage, monstrous killer, so the details are going to be particularly gruesome. So Alex Ray Scott, 28, who began transitioning into a woman in jail, was previously found guilty of the January 2020 killing of Kenneth Savinsky, 64, in his Upper East Side apartment, with a decorative plate and a kitchen knife. Now, Kenneth Savinsky was an antiques dealer, according to District Attorney Alvin Bragg, so it is possible that this decorative plate was one of the antiques that this man loved that was ultimately used against him by this horrific individual. Quote, Alex Ray Scott will serve a significant prison term for the brutal and senseless murder of Kevin Savinsky, a beloved, friendly person and respected churchgoer, said District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Mr. Savinsky's loss not only devastated his friends and family, but it shocked his tight-knit community. Although we cannot bring Savinsky back, I hope that the resolution of this case offers loved ones a sense of justice in their ongoing grief. Now, Scott, who was also sentenced in an Oklahoma case to 45 years in prison for a separate dismemberment killing of a man with a chainsaw, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and the multiple counts of criminal possession in Savinsky's death. Scott and Savinsky met on a dating app and were sharing a night out on the town together on January 27, 2020, when they went to Savinsky's apartment, according to the New York Post. Savinsky was found with wounds on the head and neck, including a broken hyoid bone, a slit throat, and large, deep lacerations across his face and forehead. He was found covered in blood and pronounced dead at the scene, prosecutors said. After the killing, Scott stole credit cards from Savinsky and said he didn't remember the attack, according to the indictment the Post reported. Scott later walked into a New York police precinct and admitted to killing someone in an unrelated case. He was found with credit cards belonging to Robin Skotopol, prompting investigators to check Skotopol's home in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, where he was unable to be reached. Authorities found his home empty of all its possessions and pools of blood inside. Skotopol's remains were eventually found in May of 2020 on the edge of a creek in Broken Arrow, federal prosecutors said. He was last seen in August of 2019. Scott was renting a room from Skotopol and told everyone that the landlord had abruptly moved to Dallas for work in an effort to explain the disappearance. A medical examiner's report said 2 different saws were used during the dismemberment. Upon arrest, Scott agreed to take the FBI to the location of the head, but no additional remains were found, the Justice Department said.
Scott admitted to dumping parts of Skotopol's body around Broken Arrow. Shortly after Skotopol's death, authorities found parts of his arm in a creek. Scott told prosecutors he left Skotopol's head in a wooded area. This morning, the FBI was conducting a search. Johnson could not confirm if they found anything. In an affidavit, an FBI agent said they also searched this house in Broken Arrow back in 2019. It was empty, except for a pool of blood.
So yeah, needless to say, these crimes are particularly vicious. And of course, the head of that victim in Oklahoma, not found at all whatsoever, but we have an overwhelming amount of evidence that this person is in fact guilty, and they've been convicted of both of these crimes. However, what I want to point out is the fact that post the arrest, post incarceration in jail, this individual, Scott, decided that it would be a good idea to declare themselves a woman now and start the transition. And unlike any sensible, reasonable society, the state of New York has decided to go along with it, and Scott was transferred to a female correction facility. And that greets us with this wonderful headline from May of 2022, which reads as follows. Murder suspect, alleged child molester, changed gender in jail, now held with females. Alex Ray Scott, age 26, reportedly went to jail as a biological male suspected of murder, but has since transitioned to female and has been placed in confinement with other females. The 6-foot-tall, 190-pound Scott was arrested in charge for murdering an antique dealer, 64-year-old Kenneth Savinsky, in 2020 after meeting the man on a dating app, according to the New York Post. Jail records now reportedly list Scott as female and indicate that Scott is being held at Rikers Island Rose M. Singer Center for female detainees. In a court appearance this week, Scott could be seen with a longer hairstyle and bangs and revealed the transition to the court, with her, using her in quotes there, lawyer, using the preferred pronouns according to the New York Post. Now look, all of this stuff is really bad. All of the details of the case are really horrific. I have to share that with you because I want you guys to understand when all these different various media outlets are playing along with this person's new, very cynically taken up identity, in my opinion, in order to get him transferred to the female prison, that this stuff was even worse than is being portrayed just in the grisly details of the murder. Because during the time where Scott went to the police and told them that he may have killed somebody the night before, it also was discovered that he was a prisoner in Oklahoma for molesting a 5-year-old child, a co-worker's child, by getting that child to perform a sexual act upon him. And the state of Oklahoma put an ankle monitor on this individual, but he decided that he was going to flee Oklahoma, cut off the ankle monitor based on the fact that he didn't want to face the consequences of his actions over there, come to New York City and kill again, because the Oklahoma murder actually took place before this murder. And it was a robbery and a whole bunch of other things that played into this. And when you think about all these different various compounding factors, you realize that a plea deal for 22 years is actually a softer treatment than this person deserves. But what's also a much softer treatment than this person deserves is incarcerating this dangerous individual who murdered men, by the way, in prison with women. It's crazy in my opinion, but of course, this is the wokeness infecting our criminal justice system. Alvin Bragg gives a comparative slap on the wrist because this person could have got life in prison. Again, think about how he's prosecuting Daniel Kennedy or how he was prosecuting Jose Alba, who on video was defending himself, versus the treatment and the plea deal offered to this individual, and understand where we are in our society where you can cling to an identity for a reduced sentence, get that reduced sentence, and then serve it with the women when it's convenient for you. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a 2-time murderer being able to transition to go into prison with the women. Till next time.